Okay, now I'm ready. Son of a bitch. Now I'm live again because of a stupid problem with the audio. Alright. Welcome. Alright. What I had to do because I had some issues, if you kind of realizing in the situation, let me go ahead and get my car on. I'm playing. If you're wondering what kind of talking discussion this is gonna be, I have it right in the description. And the game I'm playing for this discussion that's live is going to be Forza 4. Because I haven't played this game for a while, and I want to get right into the discussion because this is going to be a really interesting one. Okay, so let's go ahead and just enjoy some of this discussion that I'm going to be talking about, which is the ReZero. If you haven't heard of the recent series, that's basically what I'm doing right now. So I'm basically doing an analysis review of both season 1 and season 2. That barely came through. I'll probably have to fix it in the description. I don't want to analyze everything of the new episode because again they're really tracking down all these, we call it, fans that are talking about their series and they want to like shut them down or something, give them like copyright strikes. I don't know what kind of company is this doing, but that's basically what's happening. So I'm gonna try to avoid doing that. I'm gonna try to find what car I like so far. But let's go ahead and get right into talking about this situation because I haven't been going wrapping around this. I'm probably gonna go on this one. Let me see. Yeah, if you realize what this is, let me show you what I'm talking about because I'm gonna get right into this. Where's the viewpoint? There it is. This is the one from Cyberpunk, one with that game that needs fixing. You can tell the back and how everything looks like. I changed it to be an IOI car, so it could be kind of like interesting. And let me go ahead and get my fake face cam on. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. Because I didn't have a fake face cam, so it kind of looked weird. My new overlay now stands out a little bit different. So I'm able to have something related to exclusively to this channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. Alright, let me go ahead and drive. So if you probably realize what's been watching lately or haven't heard of this TV show called ReZero, starting a new life in another world. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Is like this one crazy, like insane, like everything about it you could tell like has a lot of like interesting stuff. Like you'll be surprised of how much things have gone into this. I was shocked myself. I was when I was like witnessing it. But as I was talking about in the ReZero series, I'm probably gonna need to do better than this. So if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the characters that barely like Subaru and Amelia, if you heard of these characters, they've been long gone like here from since 2019 since it was created. That's the year it was created, It wasn't a long. It was like a while back. It was about these characters who basically it started off as this dude. And what is going on with my game? I don't know what's happening there. Let me see if I can change it a little bit. Okay, that's better. So again, it's about these characters who's basically this one dude comes into another world, like just teleports out of existence. And when he teleports, he ends up going to a fantasy world, if you like fantasy, because it's related to a lot of fantasy characters and fantasy world. He goes into this like dimension world, and that's where he starts his story, finding characters and meeting the main ones, of course, Emilia and all the other clans. Like as it progresses through, it gets really really good story as it progresses. And I just recently saw the recent episode of season 2 that barely came out today, of March 3rd. Was like the episode, I think episode 9 of season 2. It was really fantastic. If you all watched it in other medias like Church Row, or I don't know, Funtime Anime has it, maybe Animal Planet. But and those the one that recently showed up was really fantastic. It didn't show a lot of action scenes that I was expecting to, but it did get into what you're expecting towards the next episode, because it was really insane. It was, and oh my god, this place is snowing. I really do not like snow in this level, but you could tell that from the expected. This whole entire show, it was progressing through, because in the first part of season 2, I was like, oh, I just hate when it was going through this death loop, because his powers, if you ever heard, is like something out of existence. Like if you were to say time travel related to this, and what I get an example right now. The time travel that was related is every time that he dies. So if the Subaru every time gets killed, he basically go back in time and goes where he actually lived out on, which is insane. It's like he can now like predict what's gonna happen in the future, and he tries to warn others and try to change the events. And as his story progresses through season 1 and season 2, he kind of finds himself, with obstacles and challenges, which there is one character, if I don't want to, again, this is spoilers probably. If you haven't seen the ReZero series, you probably should watch it before I spoil it. One of the characters named Roosevelt, which is the we call it the leader of the mansion, the owner of the mansion that Subaru ends up meeting across, that was close to Amelia. He ends up in season 2 going on a betrayalment to the main characters, and hires these assassins that we known from season 1 of them, and he uses those assassins to just take the people out in the mansion, something like that. And Subaru has to like save them from Roosevelt's plans, and unfortunately, as Roosevelt's betrayal, he oh my god, I'm literally going out. He ends up like fighting against Ram, and I think it was the other one, his other sister Ram, because there's two of them. There's Ram, and then there's the other one, which is like, cause let me see, I have it's like somewhere around here, because I know these characters are like really like hard to name out. He goes against Ram's sister, which is, well, they're both Rams, I get basically, because there's one red and one blue. And they have to fight against Roosevelt's plans, that he's going by the book, and this book is like, recently, if you were to know what this main witch from season 2, the one with the black, it was basically that witch's book. And I'm doing terrible at driving all of a sudden. Which is this witch called the Witch of Greed. She basically helps Roosevelt and guides him to do her biddings. Unfortunately, as time goes by, because that was the age of the witches, they end up slowly, one by one, getting killed over old age, something like that. That they end up passing their life and going through, which the guy Roosevelt, he ends up how you say this, continuing to live on the legacy of the witch's greed. and he just does a portrayalment where he's just doing this by the book. He doesn't want to be a part of being a hero. He even knew about the salts of the of greed, you know, the witch, or the sins of witches. They're called a witch group. We call those witch groups, witch coats. Yeah, witch coats that do the bidding of Pandora, which this evil main witch that just wants nothing to do but wreck and do all this craziness. That I was completely shocked at how powerful Pandora was just by analyzing season 2, and how they're trying to, you know, kill her every single time, and she just would not die. And she had like a narrator power where she's, every time she speaks and does something, if she's her predictions, it just instantaneously, with like a Thanos snap, just out of existence, something happens. It was pretty insane how powerful she actually was. And they call her the final boss of ReZero series, which I'm pretty much like in shock of how this is call her Avengers level threat, not really a one that Subu can face alone or with friends. He's gonna need crossovers with other heroes from the other clans that have been part of the Kazaku series, something like that. Probably someone could correct me in the chatter when this thing becomes recorded in the comments, something like that. Oh my god, I'm doing terrible. But yeah, this character, how powerful she becomes, is just something out of existence. And no matter how many times you just stab, do any disintegrate, she just completely reappears back at her normal form, just to completely change or take you down without even hesitation. So as I'm, you know, rooting for these main characters to try to make it through alive, so he won't go through death loops, because the more Subaru loses, the more death loops he has to encounter, which sucks because he's forced to relive this over and over and over again. And as he goes over, he cries, he's pounding, he's like shouting. He can't like break free from this, because all he wants is to, you know, continue life without dying. Because every time he has that death, it hurts him badly. He sweats, he's in pain, he's struggling, trying to gasp for some sort of like freedom to this pain that he's going through, from even from the assassins who tortured him by cutting his eye. It was just so brutal. Through the season 1 of that character, Begidius, if you heard, he basically, you know, he's like one of the best villains of anime of all time that I've seen, because every villain that I've seen from the Kaza series just completely are just wannabe, similar to the Marvel ones, where you have wannabe Marvel villains that they think they're badass, they want to do this destruction, doing this, and they do all this craziness, and the heroes have to take them down and, you know, finish off and stop them from doing their evil plans. And that's what it felt like with every single villain. Like, they're just not doing well. But with this character, it feels like I'm actually like come across one of those Spider-Man villains, or the one from, like, similar to Thanos, which it's like they're really like they're good at their performance. They know what they're doing, and they basically like have this potential of wanting to, like, oh my goodness, they wanted to like take over and do their own like planning of destruction and killing. It's madness that this villain wanted to do, because he was like possessed. In season 2, have you seen his origins? Pandora possesses him to do his like servant bidding, and that's what made him go insane after like he was forced to do this crazy mythical like weapon. And when he used that weapon in himself, it could have killed him if Pandora wasn't there. So Pandora was there to heal his wounds and prevent him from getting killed, to use this weapon, as she titled him to become a part of the witch slot to call that. And, you know, as the another main villain from season 2, which is Regilius, he's like more powerful than him, and they end up doing this clash of fighting between each other. He was like an origin too of how I don't know how he's not aged ever since, decades went by. He hasn't aged for a single bit. I'm shocked and surprised that maybe he's using some sort of like how you say this, a life existence or something that keeps your body young. He's probably using something similar to that to keep him going. So I'm in shock that this whole entire time he's just stayed young no matter what. Like no matter what we did and what we've done, it's like nothing changed or nothing seems to be like killing him. He's still like existent young as he goes by. I'm surprised that Pandora has recruited so much, and chaos of these incompetents. Like every single one of them did like a lot of like bad things that led to, events from both the two Rem sisters witnessing their own village getting destroyed by these grunts of the witch cult. It's just insane how it goes by, time goes by, and then these characters are having their own like selves getting teach so like witnessing and being teach how bad these things really are and responsible for most of a lot of deaths in the past before ReZero even teleported there in existence. I seen the new episode and it was really insane how they still continued through. I wish they would have shown more Roosevelts fighting though. I really did, but again, they're as hopefully they can make it out of their mansion because he's been going through so many death loops and that thing has been really really brutal for him. And I don't think I want to able to see that again. Otherwise, I think we're gonna have a season 3 because for sure season 3 is expected because you still have Pandora to fight, you still got Regalius, and if they end it off with just taking down the assassins, you're still gonna have a lot of like enemies left over. So there's still, we're expecting a season 3 out of this. But as I seen season 2, the overviews, and season 1, which season 1 is still, I recommend as the best series of all time. If you haven't seen it, you should probably take a look at it. Season 1, with the best villain, how he's trying to conquer and do his plans over this village. Subaru goes through a lot of not a lot, but it goes through a couple of death loops that he is trying to understand with his pals of how things work in their nation and how he's trying to help. Because in the first part of season 1, it was nothing but comedy, and you can tell from each comedy respective, it was some of it was action, some of it was hilarious. It does go through like a Groundhog Day in the middle where it's like you're basically repeating and repeating over and over. I was like, all right, get on with it. So I think a couple of episodes maybe skip until you get to like episode like maybe 8, somewhere like that, where it's like he's understanding more of the characters. Because again, that Groundhog thing, I think that what killed it in the season 1. But rather than that, it's still the best season, and he goes through obstacles and he makes it through, feeling like a badass and trying to be the hero of the day. And it makes a great like ending towards that whole thing with a good soundtrack. If you haven't seen it, the song of it really like fits in position with it, that all he's trying to do is stay alive and trying to avoid getting killed and avoid making plans worse, because then if he fails, he has to die to redo the whole thing again, which he hates doing because it really just brings a total amount of pain. As season 2 came through, I just hated how the fact that he had to go through constant endings of Deathloop, and we thought that this was the main witch that was causing all the problem. Turns out Salté, this witch character, was being framed. So she had kind of like evil potential. If any like thing gets in her way, she'll still attack it, but she was being framed by Pandora, which Pandora was the main cause of this main problem, the whole entire thing. So I was pretty much shocked that Pandora really was the one that was framing Salté, and it was just insane how Subaru found out and led to realizing this situation, and that's how he was able to identify and see the whole thing from his own eyes, that this new character, well, he hasn't seen Amelia, the one that saw it, but hopefully Amelia can tell him the truth and show the the real enemy behind the cult of the groups that are doing all this chaos to the villages and to the people, innocent people, and bring an end to this, because of the way that the situation's going. I think there still needs to be a crossover to fight this main boss, because even though they can take care of Regalius and the other clans of the witch cult, you still have a lot of like bosses left over, that, or you call this main boss, that's really powerful and hard to fight. Why is my thing always messing up? I have no idea. Apparently, like, again, when I was like reviewing the whole thing of season 2, these you find two new characters who become mains, who at first were kind of like, I don't really like them, but then you start understanding their story and start seeing what's really going on, and that shows them like, hey, this is really insane, showing all this crazy thing that's happening. So as they, you fight them off and see how powerful they really are, it's like, why can they help Subaru fight the assassins? We really want them to fight it. It's really hard for them to go through and live on repeating loops after loops. I mean, I really wanted the dude, we call it the brother, or you call it, I'm trying to pronounce his name. I really want that him to help Subaru so badly, which is Garfield. He really needs to like get in there and which I'm glad he's doing now. He's finally found a way to go into the Sanctum and get all this like stuff, or you call it the barrier that's messing up Amelia's connection, to help the Sanctum release all these like trapped people in. He able to take down the defense, and he finally got out of the Sanctum, and thank goodness now he's like fighting the assassin once. Like, I finally, in my head, it's like, yes, he's fighting these assassins, but please don't die, and he's doing a good job of it. And it's crazy the action that I saw from both the assassin and him, and like they're because two girl assassins and two of the main characters, which are brother and sister, which is Garfield's sister and him, who had this crazy scene where he's like punching like her in the wall and just putting her face and grinding it all the way. That was like one of the funniest moments right there. Just like ramping your face in the freaking wall, and just completely like similar to Terminator, where you're like, what the hell's going on? You're just completely like non-stop like grinding your face on it. It was funny. But yeah, they have a really cool action scene. I wish we had more Roosevelt though. That I really, hopefully in the next episode they can put Roosevelt in there, because we really want to see what happens to Ram, and with Punk, you call that little kitten, fighting Roosevelt, because he's the one that hired the assassins, to be honest. And I was really in shocked. I was. I hope with this ending it puts a conclusion toward the mercenary assassins and takes them down, including the white rabbits, because they had to fight the white whale in season 1. They took that one down, so the white rabbits was the second one, and they're because I know for sure they're gonna return, and they're gonna do chaos as they came through. So when they fight the white rabbit, and I know they're gonna probably do, they hopefully have a good strategy plan to take those things down, because they multiply and it's gonna be like really impossible. I'm trying to figure out how in the world are they gonna take this white rabbit clan's creatures down, because they're multiplying by every single like thing, like creature. No matter how many times you kill, they'll just multiply themselves. It's really like, it's an impossible task, to be honest, including with Pandora. And if they come up with something, that'll be great to find out if this is what they should have done all the time. Because those white rabbits are really vicious. They're really something out of the ordinary. I'm just in shock that, they came across these new creatures that are really like brutal, and how they took Subaru down during the part, I think the beginning episodes, was so like sinister. Like, you could tell how tearing pieces and pieces of Subaru, he was feeling all that bites. And imagine million of rabbits just suddenly coming at you and biting every single part out, trying to rip the flesh out of you. That must hurt a lot and being much in pain, so much that you just want it to stop and just would not. It's like until you're dead, basically. That's how he went through, and he knew off the bat. It's like that must have been one of the most brutal moments too in the ReZero series, of having him just getting just stabbed through bites. It's out of the existence, man. I can't even imagine that anymore, because I don't want to go through that pain. If going through that pain, it's like one of the bad worst pains you can feel, of just getting bitten everywhere, like cannibalized, in other words, similar to the dinosaurs eating you. It's like, ugh. But that one's, I think, what could be much worse, the small bites from the white rabbit, or could bites from the actual T-Rex or raptors from the Jurassic series, because there's so many brutal moments of those two that could just easily put a torture on you. It's just insane. It is. I'm still kind of hopefully that this series doesn't end on a cliffhanger, because I know they're still gonna make a new one, but they end it right good, where it's like they're gonna put this to an end. They're gonna stop these death loops, and Subaru can finally get a little bit of a break before he goes on his next adventure. You know, fighting of course the witch coats that are still a problem that needs to be dealt with. And this, Regalius shows up in the near the end of the episode of season 2, and he could, fight these assassins off, because they're still, a problem though. As everything turned out, it still has one of the best artists who's doing a good song, and as listening to her tracks, it is in Japanese, so if you can't understand it, at least the song, when you're hearing it, it does make it feel like you're actually listening to one of those like famous artists that really know what they're doing, really putting their own heart and passion to make this like music actually feel like you're welcome to the series. And I was listening to it. It was real. I became a huge fan of this artist, and believe it or not, this artist is an actual voice actress in the series. So not only that this voice actress is in the series, but she's also singing. So it's really like really cool to actually have a singer and a voice actor doing both at the same time. I guess they're really like putting their own passion in to make sure that the series is really like doing a fantastic job, because they really don't want the fans to be disappointed. And I'm glad they're coming with an idea of the Avengers. I'm still so disappointed that we still haven't got an actual Avenger conflict between these characters, because I really do want them to have a crossover where they fight a main harder villain with, of course, Overlord. If you haven't seen that anime, the Lord Anus, which he's one of the powerfulest characters that of all time, not all time of anime, but all time as of existence. How strong he can just fight against these enemies. And but I'm saying hopefully the ReZero has a crossover with him and can help help him out, since he has like ability powers of magic. And since ReZero only can use his magic towards time travel, it's like if we had Lord Anus in there, he could help him out with his power, since he's actual like a god, you could tell off the bat. And he really can actually do something to these, to mostly Pandora, because that's the one I think that he really needs help on. I'm looking at myself like, there is no way you can just kill Pandora like that. It should just continue reappearing. So if with Lord Anus in there, I think there's gonna be some kind of epic like fight match going on there that can help really ReZero take down this character once and for all, and end this main like conflict at ReZero, and put peace in it for once in their world, because their world is peace. Now I don't know what's behind the slot, because they have this seal slot that I have no idea what they're talking about, but something in behind the seal gate might lead to maybe the real world. Who knows? This is my theory. This is not me, but if it does lead to the real world, yeah, then we're in trouble. Because when happens and it goes into the real world, all hell breaks loose, because real world has nothing but cities and us apparently doing our own thing. And if it does lead to that, game over for us. The witch will cross pass and start doing mayhem all over the damn place. That's the last thing we want to have, is mayhem all over the cities and communities over the of a witch that's doing all this craziness. I'm still that again. This is my theory. I don't necessarily know what's behind the seal, but if my own correction is correct, if it leads to the real world, it is gonna be something that Subaru has to try to stop her, and hopefully they again the crossover would work perfect as an adventure conflict. And if they do have a main villain with all these series coming together, you know, as their minions, showing that if their minions fell, this dude will take care of himself, similar like Thanos. That would be kind of cool, and actually see the crossover, how all the heroes are gonna unite each other and face off against this main conflict. I wonder how that's gonna go. But again, this is again my theory, and I know for instance that it's really hard for them to come up with this, but again, hopefully something like that happens, because they really do need to put a little juice in this to make me feel like they actually can put these characters together that are in a real fighting conflict than just like a comedy series and talking. Again, this is like one of the craziest like moments that I've just seen from the series. I'm just pretty much going around it and talking about all this cool stuff that these characters done over time. It's just really like an adventure there. But again, that is just in theories and stuff that I'm just coming through. The way that the thing has been going is been going really well, and Subaru, facing these new obstacles is really insane. Oh my gosh, I'm already crashing and stuff. Man, what is going on with me? Yeah. The series again is one, I give it one of the best fantasies of all time. It did get it from the Anime Awards. If you've seen it, it is one of the best fantasies they ever made of all times, and it did win that. And I don't know about the anime of the year. Again, the anime year is still like the recent ones. It's not, they're not, haven't got the ones in the past. But in the comments or in the chat, you can probably say what's your best anime of the year of all time if you do watch anime. And probably leave them there so I can hear them out. The way the whole situation of the ReZero is really at it's doing a really good job with stories. I'm glad they actually made Amelia fall like love Subaru so much and made Subaru prove his point, and they actually do end up becoming a couple, which is really fantastic. So I'm surprised in that this actually happened. It wasn't Ram that everyone wanted to hear, but again, it was Amelia the whole time. Ram was just the best friend, and again, he does care for his friends, and he does care for his best friends no matter what, and he'll do anything to make sure he gets to help them and gets them treated as possible as much, because I really do think that Rem should come back to series to help Subaru out, and continue with the fighting these cults, because they really do need to be taken down. Thank goodness that more help is coming near the end. I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen to the end of ReZero season 2, and then hopefully find out what's gonna happen with the next season, because I know that they're not gonna just end it like that really fast. Oh yeah, with a couple of episodes we're gonna end Regalius, and then we're gonna end Pandora just like that. No, that's really gonna destroy the story. That's not how you do it. If you rush it like Star Wars, you're gonna really mess things up. So they have to make another season. There's no way that that's gonna happen. It's just no way there isn't gonna be another season, because it'll look really bad, and it'll be all over Rise of Skywalker rushing things and trying to end it so they won't do it ever again, and that's how your whole thing falls apart. Because don't do that. That's the warning to the directors, that please don't make fun of yourself. Don't do something that's gonna make the fans get angry and be like, what a waste of time, or why did you do that, you messed up the whole thing. Yeah, just completely slow down your pace. They did that too in, I think, Supergirl, where they rushed the beginning of how she became Supergirl, and that's where it kind of really did bad. They did it all in one episode, and I'm looking there like, wow, you couldn't do like a couple of episodes. I mean, Daredevil had to take like 12 episodes before he became his actual costume suit, with his realistic, thing in the Netflix series, and it did a pretty good job in his oranges. It was really cool how he ended up becoming that. With this one, it felt like it just did rushed it and doing too much. So I was like, oh, no way. So hopefully ReZero doesn't do similar to like that, because that really would be something of a disaster. That's not what I really do not want to see. Nobody wants to see that, because after those events, with the other films and TV shows, yeah, I'm gonna say a no to that as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying, watching, the stuff. And I've been just driving around with the Cyberpunk car for a while. I've been talking about the ReZero series and everything that's leading up to the main events. I'm not making predictions from the further. I was doing theories though, and I do not analyze the whole thing, because again, I can get in trouble by their assistant team, which I don't know who they are, but these assistants, you call them, are tracking down everyone who talks about ReZero and analyzing it, and they're trying to put copyright strikes on them. So that's why I'm trying to be careful not to be talking too much about it. Just basically, I'm doing a one-time review of how the series is going, and it's going very good. Thank goodness that we have finally a good fantasy film that actually is worth watching. And I'm not gonna do something that's gonna lead to, putting my channel in jeopardy. I don't want to do that. So I'm basically, hiding it. That's why I'm playing this game instead, to order to talk about it. Because if I'm just doing talking by itself, of course I can get in trouble. So I'm playing a game while I'm doing it, so it doesn't look like it's some similar to really, really bad about it. Again, I want to continue making sure that I'm having myself, hidden away. I still will do hashtags, but I don't want to like put myself where I'm showing the spotlight to them. I want to make sure that I'm kind of hiding it, because a lot of these channels that talk about the ReZero are really getting hit badly. And if you've seen one of the videos how it's getting hit, it feels like that one scene from the Revenge of the Sith, where the clone troopers are turning on the Jedi. That's basically what's happening. They're just turning on them and just shooting them down one by one, trying to get rid of them. And it's really getting bad out there. But the good news is that through my review that I'm doing, I'm actually, making sure that this whole thing I'm talking about is nothing but showing but the goodness of this show, that is still a show that I still want everyone to watch. And if they haven't seen it, they should probably take a look at it. If you've been spoiled enough, that's all right. I'm not spoiling too much, but again, it's better to watch the show than being spoiled while other people are talking about and analyzing stuff. Because again, that's really like something that really irritates people when they're spoiling stuff. I hope they don't do that. They always, trust me, they always gonna spoil stuff. Even on Instagram, after watching a TV show and you have your favorite, likings on Instagram, they're always gonna show spoilers from scenes and just putting them there on Instagram just so they can show it off to everybody in the social media, and it just irritates you. Even on YouTube, they do that. They spoil it for you, just trying to show what's cool about the scene. So that's why it's best to just watch the show first, so that way, and you stay away from those platforms as much as possible. Even Minds, if you haven't watched this TV show, stay away from it until you watch the show, because you will be spoiled immediately. And yeah, basically that's about it. I hope everybody's been, watched like this talking discussion I've been doing lively. The episodes I probably put on pause, so that's why I'm doing live instead, so I can just talk it really fast without all that editing. And hope I'm looking forward for more stuff in the future. I'm probably gonna call it for not quit, but keeping it quite low for a while, because I have to do other stuff. Because again, I have to focus on my semester stuff. But everything else that I'm doing is basically gonna be on pause for a while. Unless something comes up from a TV show or something that gets my attention, I will probably talk about it. But rather than that, that's about it. Hope you guys will enjoy this talking discussion. Leave any likes, thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to check that out. And subscribe to the channel. And as always, we'll see you on another Orlock 425 original videos from Zero Power Orlock 425. And that's about it. Hope you guys like this and enjoy the rest of your day, and bye bye.